2008, we have a market growth of close plus 14% in the year 2008. This market, consumer electronics, IT, telecommunication, photo market, has meanwhile in total globally, worldwide, a value of 694 billion US dollar. If we have a look to the different regions, to the different areas of this consumer electronic market, technical consumer electronic market, we see 30%, and which is the biggest block here, but rather stable. It's the Asian market, Australia, New Zealand even also included in here. We see North and South America, which are, if we take both together, the American market is rather stable, but a shift within these markets that South America is growing faster at the moment as compared to the North American market, both together 36%. And if we have a look to Europe, and even if we add Middle East and Africa, we have a market of another 34%, so close to one third of this market, which is in total, if we see this, a rather stable situation. If we have a look to the development in the year 2008 by the different categories, it is at least a continuous growth, first of all, of these main three categories. 66%, two-thirds of the market, is covered either by a mobile phone or by a PC, either a laptop PC or a desktop PC, or it is covered by a TV set. More and more often, of course, by a flat TV set, but in total at least these three categories doing two-thirds of this technical consumer electronic market. Two-thirds of this market, which means at least in case consumer buy a product out of these, they spend $2 out of $3 for one of these three categories. And as you know, the most important, or as you see, the most important one is the mobile phone market, mobile phone and smartphone market, which is by far, even also in number of units, by far the biggest one. The three categories are different in at least using the products or in replacement of the products. A mobile phone, how often do you buy a mobile phone? Maybe every 2 years, maybe even more than every 2 years. In China, we have households who change the mobile phone every 6 months even. 1 out of 8 mobile phones worldwide has been sold in 2008 in China. So by far biggest market here, even also on mobile phones. Next one, with a share of more than 20%, this is the PC market, and within the PC market we see a clear development, of course, at the moment from a desktop market to a laptop market. It's quite often, at least even also, a design decision of the consumers that people do not want to have anymore this tower beyond the table, but they decide to buy a small, well-designed laptop, a small, well-designed notebook. And we have the development of the TV market, and this is for everyone clear, of course, the TV market strongly develops, and very fast development over the years, to a flat TV market. Everyone is asking at the moment, but where do we have the highest potential growth in the future? What are doing these BRIC countries, India, Brazil, Russia and China? It is approximately 1/4 of that market. 1/4 of that technical consumer electronic market is done by 4 countries. Is done by 4 countries, and among these BRIC countries, by far the biggest market is the Chinese market. The Chinese market with a share of 46%, followed by Russia, followed by Brazil, and then 12% the Indian market. And if we have a look to the growth, which is at least the potential of these markets, on the horizontal line here we see this average worldwide growth in 2008 at 13.7%. This is the line for the average growth of the market. Then we see Asia in total growing by close to this line by plus 13%. but we see South America, with the biggest market in South America is of course the Brazilian market. Yeah, we see South America with a development of plus 36%. We see Russia, even in terms of share of this global market, only 5%, but it's a development in 2008 of plus 37%. And if we have a look to Brazil, even also Brazil is developing by plus 23%, far above the average. But we see the only country at the moment out of these BRIC countries who is underperforming, at least, who has not built up this huge potential, but which will, of course, and for sure build up this potential over the next years, India, by development in 2008 of plus 5%, with a share in total of at least, actually, in 2008, 3%. Despite the crisis, the overall technical consumer expenditures has increased in 2008, has increased again by plus 14% in dollar. Now we have to point out, we have to do this calculation at the moment in dollar, and you know, of course, even we have the crisis, but we have a change, of course, of exchange rates, and if we calculate this in local currency, yeah, we still have a positive development, but due to the fact that 2008 the dollar has been more value than in 2007, even on local currency, we minimum will have an estimated growth of plus 7%. South America and Eastern Europe, where Russia, of course, is included, yeah, are pulling the global market in 2008. Yeah, BRIC countries are growing faster than the market, of course. Yeah, they represent close to 1/4 of the market, 24%. And Brazil and Russia, even they have also a healthy growth, yeah, when China and India are less dynamic at the moment compared to Brazil and compared to Russia. The latest technologies are less developed in the BRIC countries. If we take South America or if we take Brazil, actually 85% of the TV sets sold in Brazil are still CRT TV sets, so old-fashioned big tubes and not flat ones. So this shows at least even also, especially the potential of these BRIC countries, that the BRIC countries will, of course, grow with this latest technology. Let's have a look to some detailed figures on the TV market. And the global sales of TV is growing, still growing even also in 2008, and we will have a positive development of the consumer demand even also in the year 2009. 2008 we have had a development of plus 11% in consumer demand. Yeah, driven, of course, first of all by the decision of the consumer. They buy a flat TV instead of CRT TV. But driven at least by some additional other trends. Yeah? People are used to have more screens around them. Yeah? Multi-ownership of TV sets, having more than one TV set in households, yeah, is getting more and more popular. Yeah? In UK, for example, people own meanwhile 2.5 TV sets in average in the household. So the market is growing into a positive development, consumer demand is positive and will be convinced the market will grow in regards of the consumer demand even also in the year 2009. And if we have a flat TV, there's no only flat TV volume split in 2008, and especially a look to the growth rates, then we see rather clearly, yeah, that the potential of this market is, of course, in those countries where the penetration rate or where the sales rate of flat TVs is at the moment beyond the average, yeah, which is by far, of course, in South America, where we have a development of 157% compared 2008 against 2007. Or Middle East Africa, flat TV market grew in units by plus 94%. Or if we take the Eastern European market, a flat TV growth of plus 70%. And we have to be aware, if we take this region split, if we take Western European countries 29% and Eastern European countries, which are 9% of the market, so 38% by far. The most important region for this flat TV market actually is the European market.